Good morning and welcome back to Miniature Monday here on Gaming with ADHD, where today we're going to take a look at the second shipment from Hachette Collections for the Warhammer Combat Patrol magazine subscription. So, if you are unfamiliar with what that is, it is essentially a monthly subscription where they will send you a selection of models from Games Workshop. Now, in the past, they've done full armies, but this time they're taking a new approach and essentially just doing combat patrols, which are fixed armies and across 9 different choices from the Warhammer 40,000 universe. So, as it goes on, you get more models, you get paints, you get magazines, that tell you the lore, that teach you how to play the game. And essentially it's a really, really interesting way for new players to get into the hobby. Now, why did I sign up for it? I haven't played Warhammer in quite some time, and my son asked me if he could start playing. And so, you know what? This I thought would be just a fun way to get back into the hobby, try the game out again, not go super invested into one particular army, because my tastes have changed over the years. So, with that said, what we're going to do today is we're going to look at the second shipment of magazines. Now, in the UK, you can actually purchase them on once a week and get a new magazine, but in the US, they bundle them together and send you 4 at a time once a month. And so this is going to be the second shipment after the initial intro where they send you issues 1 and 2. So this is going to be issues 5 through 6. Now, we'll take a look at the contents, what I got, whether I think it's a good deal, and kind of take a quick look through the magazines and see what they are offering this time. So, if you are interested, there will be a link down below. I also have a couple of affiliate links of my own for Amazon, Drive-Thru RPG. If you're interested in those, absolutely helps. But do make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I try to put out a few videos each week covering all sorts of tabletop gaming content. I do live streams where I'll paint models. In fact, these will be coming up in paint streams here shortly. So, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of that content. But with that said, let's get started. All right, so first up, we've got issue number 3. So basically it comes in a bag. You get your models, you get your magazine, and any extra bits. So this one has some extra cards. So we'll take a look at all of that here in a minute. All right, I'm going to set the magazine to the side. Let's take a look at our models real quick. So as you can see here on the magazine cover, you're going to get 5 Infernus Marines out of issue 3. So essentially this is one frame of models, good for 5 Infernus Marines. Basically it's Marines with like Melta Flamer things. I'm not quite sure on these. Overall, I mean, they're general Games Workshop models. They are essentially static pose, so you don't have a whole lot. Actually, you don't have any flexibility as far as how you build these, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Over the years, they've gotten really good at making some pretty dynamic models. Lots of detail in and around the models, so you don't really miss out by not being able to fully customize all of your builds. Now, this kit, I did look it up. Normally, you would get 10 Infernus Marines, and it'd run you about $60. So this is about $30 worth of models. Now, the cover price on the magazine is $14.99. As part of the subscription, basically they charge you for the magazine plus $2.50 shipping per. So basically you get 4 magazines, so it would run you about $70. So right here, just on this one sprue, we've covered about half that cost. Now, I am paying for the bonus subscription. Basically, it's an extra $3 per issue, so an extra $12, so about $82 per month. But then every essentially about every 4 or 5 shipments, they're going to send you bonus stuff. For the Marines, you're going to get like a Dreadnought. For the Tyranids, you're going to get a Hive Tyrant, and we'll look at all that when it comes in. So, right now, because of what I'm paying, I'm at about a third of the cost with 5 Marines. So, not too bad for a start. You also get your bases. These I think are interesting. As you can see, there's a little hole in the base, and the feet have a little peg so that when you put them on the base, they're actually going to be kind of centered. It's interesting. It's not a bad option. I'm not necessarily sure it's a great option, though. Anyways. All right, let's take a look at the magazine. All right, so as always, it has, instead of like a regular binding, it has kind of a wax binding so that you can actually peel the magazine apart. Because in a couple of shipments, they will, well, I think in the 5th shipment, they send a binder. So you can actually tear it apart. It does come pre-perforated so that you can put it into the binder and save everything and also have it organized. We've got, obviously, our build instructions up front. We then get some lore as far as the worlds of the Imperium. So then describes, okay, we've got Hive Worlds, Forge World, Agri World, Shrine World. So they're trying to get you more into the spirit of the game as opposed to just, hey, here's models, enjoy. You know, more descriptions of Space Marines, talking about Space Marine Doctrine, it looks like. Space Marine Combat Doctrine is focused on using small elite force troops to shatter larger forces in a single brutal strike. Okay? So kind of telling you how you should anticipate playing the game. All right, and then obviously more models. So we've got some Land Raiders, some I forget what they call these. It's the new Primaris tank. My brain wants to say a Predator, but it's not a Predator because it's not on tracks. You know, more Primaris Marines, some Terminators. So again, giving you more background on the lore and these units. Okay. Oh, Deep Strike. Okay, so this is just a straight up piece of fiction. All right, so just like literally like 2 pages of fiction. The Infernus Squad. So naming it. What have you done with it? Have you built, played a game with it? Then we get the data sheet. And then, all right, more naming tables. And then we have a scenario: cleanse, purge, kill. Moving, shooting, and inflicting wounds. So it talks about shooting attacks. Here's the mission. Now remember, I think it was issue 1, they actually give you a map to play on. It's just paper, but that's fine. And then this talks about these different cards. So I'll show these off in a second. And then it walks you through how to do a battle. Choose a target, how many hits, wounds, saves. All right. And then, all right, that ends the battle. Okay. And then they give you a little preview of what's coming next. All right. So this one, we also get these cards. So these are Tyranid infestation sites. I think this is actually kind of interesting. They give you rules to attack them, which for some reason I cannot get focused properly. Anyways, it's got a toughness, it's got a save value, and it's got number of wounds. So Obviously, that's going to come into the scenarios later on. And then we've also got some clean versions that are just for terrain purposes, it looks like. We then also get some punch-out data cards. Honestly, I think just in general, these are going to be nice to have. Just for reference purposes. So we've got the Captain, the Infernus Squad, Terminators, and Librarians. So obviously these are models that are coming up. Same with the Tyranids, the Winged Prime, the Barbgaunts, Termagants, and Von Ryan Leapers. Alright, super exciting. That was issue 3. Alright, issue 4. Alright, so this is the first one where you don't get any models. You get 3 bottles of paint. So we've got, and these are all base colors. So we've got Wraithbone, Macragge Blue, and Barak Nar Burgundy. Looks like the seal's held up pretty well. There is some separation of the paint. But, oh, mixed right away. So I have not used Games Workshop paints in a long time. I'm not sure what I want to do on this. Because I kind of want to paint according to quote-unquote official colors. But I hate these paint pots. So we'll see. Anyways, these are normally about $8 a piece. So that's $24 worth of paint. That's another thing that annoys me. $8 for these. Or $5 for a Pro Acryl paint. Pro Acryl, I get 22 milliliters. This should say on it somewhere 12 milliliters. So you're getting about half the paint in here that you get out of the Pro Acryl. I don't know. I might do it for the project, though. I might use it for the project. And then we have a Citadel starter brush. Honestly, it seems like a fine, normal brush. It's not great. Hold the paint, or hold the point. Okay. This set's a little disappointing. I mean, I knew these were coming. I'm not upset over it. They are catering to new players. New players will need their paint. If you are a more experienced Warhammer player like myself, you're probably going to be a little less excited. But it is what it is. All right, so you get your 3 things of paint, and you get a magazine. No extras with this one, so no cards, no nothing. But we are going to have our first paint section. So you'll notice that like they've all been kind of color-coded. Blue for assembly, yellow for paint, red for reading, black for, looks like, collecting, and green for play. So, still broken down the same way, but I like this. It tells you, okay, if you're going to paint your models, this is what you need. Palette pad, you don't need that. There's 1,000 different ways to do palettes. You can get old plate. You can get palettes from Hobby Lobby. There's 1,000 different options, but this is kind of interesting. It's sort of like a plastic wax paper kind of a thing, and then you can just throw it away. So I don't necessarily have a problem with that. You need a water pot. I love these Games Workshop water pots, not gonna lie. I think I've got like 4 of them, and not all of them are used for paint. But I like these. And then paper towel, your brush, and your paints. So, and then obviously your table. A nice work surface is good for you. All right. So, your essentials talks about the different types of paint brushes, even though you only have the one. All right. And then, all right, technique. So, first, use your brush to lift a small amount of paint from the pot. Create a pool of paint on your palette. Wash your brush and carefully lift a small amount of clean water with the brush. That's funny. Why is it clean water? You just washed it out. Anyways. And then mix the water with the paint to help smooth it out. All right. These are just great tips. Don't have too much paint. If it's too thick, it'll obscure details. And they actually show a picture of that. You know, and then also don't thin it out too much because then it won't stick. So this, I think, is interesting that they're not talking about priming miniatures. Priming is a basic step. I don't know why they're not included. I think they're trying to keep it to stuff that you're going to get in your magazine. It's still a really big step to skip. I will be priming all my models for this. In fact, I have the first magazine. They're primed. I just haven't been able to do a paint stream for these yet. Separate issue. All right. So, all right. And then they talk about doing some multiple coats, basically to get just a nice, consistent color. No problems there. I like this. Drying time, leave about 5 minutes between each coat. Let it dry. Surprise. This actually, I think, is interesting about how to hold your models so that you don't get tired. Make sure you clean your brush and change your paint water, semi-regularly. Once a painting session is fine, folks. Then, all right, this I think is interesting. So it's basically just, they're saying, okay, put your undercoat on your Space Marines of the Macragge blue. But this I think is interesting. You should be able to carefully push the Captain and Terminator off his base in order to paint the hard-to-reach areas behind the cloak. Maybe if some of us didn't have glue already and permanently assemble them. That's fine. I'll figure it out. Don't judge me. All right, but then it says do your 3 undercoats. And then for the undercoat on the Prime and the Von Ryan Leapers, it says to use the Wraithbone. So, yep, pretty normal. All right, we then get some more fiction featuring the Silver Templars, which I believe were the Marines from the last magazine subscription they did. They then talk about different characters. So we've got Captain in Terminator armor, Librarian in Terminator armor, and Chaplain on a bike. I'm not sure if you get... I know you get the Librarian. I'm not sure if you get the Chaplain, though. Talking about Tyranid characters. So essentially, this looks more like a kind of a filler issue. Add some extra references. And then we get into another scenario. Desperate Measures. Basically, the story is the Infernus Marines versus the Von Ryan Leapers. So mixing up, which models you're playing games with. And in this case, can't see it. There we go. All right, you're going to take 3 Infernus Marines versus 1 Von Ryan Leapers. So, basically running a multi-model squad and practicing with that. Walks through the turns. Walks through the attack sequence, breaks down the data sheet, what every single piece on it means, and then wound rolls and saving throws. Cool. All right, that is issue 4. Issue 5. All right, so... Issue 5, we get a special edition Infernus Sergeant. Actually, it's just a space... Well, it just says Space Marine Sergeant. I'm kind of mixed on this because it gives you just kind of a standalone model. I'm not sure what it's... Especially if it's a Sergeant, it's supposed to be attached to another squad. It does have the flamer melta thing, so it could be a sergeant for the Infernus Marines, but you don't have a full squad. So, not quite sure what they're going for there. But again, it's a single pose. It's a bit more. It's not a push to fit. You're definitely going to need glue for this model, but that's fine. And then you get a base, and you also get some more dice. I actually would have liked to see them add some more dice in these magazines. Maybe we'll see how many I end up with, because this puts it at 12 total that they've sent me. But anyways, some more dice. Again, $14.99 cover. Trying to figure out how to price this one. Normally characters are about $40 for just a single model. But because it's a sergeant, it's not your captain, something like that, I figured I would ballpark it at, say, $30. Yes, I'm kind of making up numbers here, but it's just to put it in perspective. So, $18 magazine, $30 model, so you're saving about $12. Is that right? Maybe not, but close enough for government work. All right, what do we get in our magazine? Obviously, we get some more building, and now we get some more painting. So, talking more about base coating. Let's see. Base coating, and then actually starting with your adding in your colors. So, like right here, I like this. Messy paint overspill. So you have an area, you're painting it, but you get outside of the area. Okay, well, go clean it up with your undercoat color. Okay. These are really, really basic techniques. I understand that this is not going to tell you how to win a golden demon, but that's not the purpose. But I like that they're including that. Again, more talks about how you hold the model, what direction, or how you're painting. So it's like when making brushstrokes, start away from you and pull towards yourself. So, again, just good basic techniques. How to paint your sergeant. So we're doing our blues, Wraithbone, some of the purple for the Tyrannid Carapace. And then, okay, so now we're moving into the next steps. Okay, so flesh portions of the model. Okay, put a little bit of Wraithbone on there. Get it prepped for the flesh color, which will probably be in the next shipment. I don't know yet. I haven't gotten it. All right, and then we get some more fiction. The Imperial Tithe. So, whether it's military equipment or money or people, whatever. The Black Ships. Harvesting the Psychers for the Emperor. The Infernus Sergeant, okay, giving a little bit of background. Why does he have a red helmet instead of a blue helmet? And then our scenario, Flames of Purification. So, as the last survivor of his squad, an Infernus Marine Sergeant is cut off and deep behind enemy lines. For mere mortal, this would be a disaster. For the Space Marine, it is an opportunity to wreak havoc and take burning vengeance on the Tyrannid swarm. I'm okay with this. Alright. Gives us our scenario. Turn breakdowns. Oh, okay. Single-use profiles. In this mission, your Infernus Marine is equipped with 3 canisters of experimental armor-piercing fuel for his Pyre Blaster. You can use each of these canisters once. To represent this in your battle before you make a shooting attack with the Pyre Blaster, you may opt to change its armor penetration value to one of the values seen here. Make a note, when you have changed the AP, you cannot use the same AP value more than once. Oh, okay. Oh, they're called Pyre Blasters, not Flamer Meltas. All right, then walking through the turns, we've got our maps, we've got our little terrain cards, modifying dice rolls. All right, and that's the end of issue 5. All right, so yes, I realize I'm a veteran-ish to these games, but so far I like how they're doing this. Obviously, they've got some practice on it, but this is a great way for new players, but also I'll admit, someone like me who I haven't played. Okay, I played in a Warhammer tournament recently. I basically lost all of my games. I technically won the third, but it was against my son, who also hasn't really played, and he lost his games. But we were also more or less in a tie. I'm not really counting it a win. It was two people who don't know what they're doing. So for someone like me, I haven't played really since like 6th, maybe 7th edition. And so I'm kind of coming at it as a new player anyways, and I like how they're breaking this down for me. All right, issue 6. We now have the Barbgaunts. You get 5 in the magazine. And because I forget, although I had looked it up. All right. Normally these are going to be $45. So you're paying $15 for this sprue. That is not a bad deal. Even if you consider like the boosted subscription. Okay, so you're paying $18 for 5. That's great. That's a really good deal. It's more bugs. The detail's really good. They've got the little hex pegs, to sit in the base. These are great. All right, last magazine. We've got our build. We've got our paint. So now we're really starting to talk about how to paint the Tyranids. Do a Wraithbone base, and then do the Baraknar Burgundy to start, filling out the carapace. And like, I like this. It's just like, just get to this point. Don't worry about finishing it. Just paint to here. I like that approach. Paint to here, start playing. And as you play, you're now going to see things just kind of grow and evolve. Fantastic. More fiction. We've got the Emperor, the Golden Throne, Hive Fleets. Where do the Tyranids come from? Named Hive Fleets. Fiction about the First Tyrannic War. The Battle for Macragge, the Swarm Lord. I don't know who the Swarm Lord is, but he looks mean. I actually really like... Ooh, red and black. Everybody does that. I don't know. I'm still trying to decide how I want to paint. I'm probably going to actually end up with just the regular paint scheme. But we'll get there. Alright, so then we've got the Barbgaunts, build, paint, play. The data sheet. Live fire operation. So this is our new scenario. Tyranids are on the hunt. Across the ruins of a long-abandoned starship, countless hunter organisms awake in response to sinister psychic imperatives. Falls on the scattered space marines to mount a defense and build onto their existing beachhead. Should they fail, their mission may well be lost before it has even begun. Alright, so we've got our scenario. Where do they start? Okay, I'm actually just noticing this. The map is broken out in a grid. And then they just say, okay, put all of your Tyranids here. Put all your Barbgaunts here. Take your Infernus Marines. Put them here. Perfect setup. Even for the move. Okay. I'm going to say it. This is... They stole this from Dead Zone. Because now as they're talking about moving, it's like, okay, move your guys from here to from this box to this box. Okay. They're not telling you like the specific movement. I mean, they do have it in the data sheet, but they're just like, move your guys from here to here. Okay. Nice and simple for a new player. I really like it for Dead Zone anyways, but here we are. All right, then we've got turn 1, turn 2, talking about batch rolling, so rolling a group of dice. You know, you've got like 25 attacks, but you only have 5 dice. Okay, here's how you can do it. Ranged weapons and shooting. Different ranged weapons on the same model. Splitting fire. This is great. Okay. And that's issue 6. All right, so next time they're going to talk about termagants. You get 10 across 2 magazines. I don't think that's going to be a great deal. We'll see. Anyways, all right. So that's what you get. Total. Oh, actually, you know what? I forgot one last thing. You also get the first bonus shipment. I do think this actually should have come sooner. Not sure why they sent this with the second, but here we are. All right. You get a pair of Citadel clippers. These are fine. These are functional. That's about it. And then you also get this scraper. I have not used one of these. A little disappointing because the one that they showed, it was marked and it said Citadel across it, so they didn't do that. But it looks like it's just a piece of steel. It's not sharp. I have not played with one of these, so that is going to be something new. I will experiment on this set of models. So this right here, this is going to be about, they're going to charge you like $20, but honestly, this isn't anything. You can go to Amazon and buy this for nothing. Probably pay like $5 for the clippers. I'm not even sure if they would sell something like, they probably do sell something like this, but I don't. If you're spending more than $10 online for something like this, you're probably overpaying. So a little disappointing, but not the worst, you know. There we are. All right, so what do I think of what I got? Okay, so it was about 80, like I said, it cost about $80, and we're looking at about, so we've got 45, 105, close to $150 worth of stuff at regular retail for Games Workshop. Not a bad savings. You know, and a nice build, a nice variety. It's stuff that I would want anyways. So overall, I'm actually okay with this. So far on the second shipment, I'm still pretty happy with this. I know overall the savings, you know, the savings is really good. I think it's about 30 to 40% is what people say. So it's not a bad deal to do. But we'll see. We'll see over time. Obviously, we've got about another, well, this particular project is going to run about 2 years. So we'll see how that goes. But with that said, thanks so much for watching. I do appreciate your time, everybody. If you're, let me know down below. What did you think of this shipment? Would you be happy if you had spent $80 to get this? Let me know down in the comments. Let me know, what you think. Should I follow actually, I'm going to ask you guys, should I follow the paint scheme that they're recommending, paint them the official style, or should I come up with my own? I'd love to hear from you guys. Let me know what you want to see. So thanks for watching, and don't forget, if you enjoyed the video, do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all the YouTube things. But other than that, thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.